3-step team building process, how to build a profitable business that gives you true freedom, life giving. Your business can be life giving. Traditional success in real estate oftentimes will not lead you to a place where you feel like it's breathing life into you, right? It could suck the life out of you. So if you missed our giveaway this week, I gave you guys access to our need an admin start here hiring guide. I think it's like a 7-8 page guide, everything you will need to make that first admin hire. Comment, no matter where you're listening, comment need leverage to get your free copy. Could be YouTube, could be Facebook, and we'll get you that free copy. So the guiding question I have for you is, and I tease you guys every week to think about your business differently. Just slow down and think about your business. So the question I have is, how am I thinking about my business in terms of my ability to scale based on people leverage and succeeding through others? So what if you couldn't do all the things, right? What if you couldn't, enter listings into MLS, or do your social media, or, drive around town and run yard signs and attend closings and inspections and, meet with buyers and all this stuff. What if you couldn't do all that stuff? So how would you have to think about your business in terms of succeeding through others? So in terms of why this matters, first thing I will say is that wherever you are in your journey, if you're not hitting your goals to a certain extent, very specifically, some of it's not your fault. The whole industry is set up against you, meaning that most of the stuff I'm going to talk about today is goes against the status quo of the industry. The industry does not want you to figure out how to sell a lot of homes per license, right? The industry thrives on a whole bunch of agents selling a few homes, right? If every agent could figure out how to massively scale through leverage and, bring 4 agents into their world, and maybe you do the listings, 50 listings a year, and they do 25 deals each. So between the 5 of you, there's 150 deals. The whole industry would implode if every agent did 25 to 50 deals, right? Because the industry thrives on all these little MLS fees and lots of agents paying little into the system. So the second thing here in terms of why this matters is that it's a crazy time with just information overload. There's so much coming at us. There's so much you can get caught up in, whether it's news or Netflix or social media. So it's a crazy time. And if you're married, you've got kids, whatever is going on in your life, there's definitely competing priorities, and it's hard to do it all. And there's a lot to do in real estate. There's fully 12 jobs that you do. If you're a successful real estate agent, you're doing 12 jobs or so, and you can't do it all. It's impossible. You have to believe and understand that your time is money. And everything I focused on in Real Estate B School is helping you buy back your time so that the time you put into your business is worth more, right? So your time is money. If you haven't heard me talk about this simple calculation, this is something I learned early on. I mean, within the first year I was in real estate, I figured out that I wasn't making the money I wanted for the time I was putting into my business. And I decided that I was going to make $500,000 take home clear. And I only wanted to work 40 hours a week. So that calculation was a business freedom index of $250 per hour. And I looked at everything differently. I could automate, I could delegate most everything in my business because I understood this powerful calculation. So if you missed the training I did on, I think it's called the Time Freedom System, you can go to YouTube, or you can go in the Facebook group, Real Estate Business Builders, and you could find that training, and it goes deep on this calculation. So you're doing the wrong things. That's sort of the last point that I want to share here before I get into some of the meat of this simple 3-step process to building a team. You're doing the things that don't make you money. If you're not hitting your financial goals, if you're not working a reasonable amount of hours, if you're working more than 50 hours and evenings and weekends, and there's this stress about where's the next deal going to come from, or you're not like absolutely crushing it, chances are you're doing the wrong things, right? If there are 12, 15, 20 things, there's a lot of things that a real estate agent needs to do. The only thing, the only activities that make you money are a handful, and the rest of the activities you do, you need to automate, delegate, use technology, use virtual assistants, use what I'm going to teach you today, and even if it's the first of the three steps, we've got to get you some leverage. And so the hope is that I have given my life the last 10 years to building a coaching organization to help you guys increase your net worth, have more time off so that you can put first things first. And I have failed in all of this. So I get to sit here sort of from a preachy standpoint and say, like, do this, don't do this. And it comes from a heart of having failed in all the ways. This was 2008. So my son Anders, who's now driving, and he's 6'2". He's 2 inches taller than me. He didn't really know that I wasn't being a great dad. My wife was giving me lots of grace and not being a great husband, but I was failing on all the fronts. And I'll go through my journey specifically and the years and all that. But I wasn't winning. I sold 44 homes, so I was like top agent, 0.5% of my market, my first full year in real estate. So I figured some things out early on, but I was not winning at home. Ruined our first family vacation. I think this was 2009 or 10. This is when I started to figure out some of these things around leverage, automations and delegations, but still failing. And real estate B school was born to help others do this journey, this ascension to more leverage so you can make more money, have more time off, and less stress and all that. So let's get into what you should know. And there's only a few things. Actually, I want to go into the three specific models, but before I do that, is that some of you need to focus on just doing the actual work and being more disciplined and time blocking and honoring your new business development time blocks. I've done a lot of trainings on productivity, and even the time freedom system training goes through how to organize your calendar, focus on dollar productive activities as many hours a day as you possibly can. And that will allow you to consider some of what we're going to go through today. Right. So doesn't mean you can't be in our world and you can't participate in our business foundations program or case study program. That is for someone that wants to grow, and we'll teach you those disciplines and those habits. And, you have all the lead gen levers to be able to scale and all that good stuff. But the first thing I will say is that what I'm going to teach you, this three-step process, in terms of organizational structure, it doesn't give you a pass from doing the work, right? It's just a different sort of work, but it's not any easier. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that landed the way I intended it to. So the first model that we're going to talk about is the lead agent model. This is, for me, it's a very, very simple model. This is when you are so busy, and this probably happened for me. That's why I wrote it down there. So in 2008, my first full year with just an administrator, I sold 44 homes. I was busting at the seams. In 2009, I did 58 homes, but I did 54 of them. And I only brought on my first buyer agent late in that year. And that took us into sort of 2010. I added a couple buyer agents, and they kind of doubled down as showing agents for my buyer transactions. They were happy to get paid an hourly fee plus a bonus at closing for showing homes to my clients. And that's how I ran for a few years. But this model here took us through 118 transactions, so a few agents, one administrator handling all the listing management, all of the closing coordination, all of the marketing coordination, right? Those are the functions that you need administrative help for. And my administrator was licensed, so she could pop in at closing. She could, she was flexible with her hours, so she could pick up signs, or she can organize. We had a runner and a photographer at the time. So some outsourced functions as well. The lead agent at this point in the journey is focused on listings, right? Leverage through listings. Listings are leverage. you're a marketer too, right? So I did a training. I'm not sure I did it in the Facebook in this sort of weekly free training, but I've done a training on the mindset shifts required to become a business owner. And one is that you are a marketer, right? So you retain that hat. You're taking listings that's highly leveraged. You're working on marketing, and you're thinking about the team development and managing the team. You're building systems. You're automating things in the business. So you're taking that first step to becoming a business owner. So that is the lead agent model. The second model that we talk about is the team leader model. So this is where you are starting to divide the world. You're still managing the sales team. You're still managing the admin team. But for me, this is 2011, which that was the year we did 178 transactions. That's the year I hired my first listing specialist. Production of any kind, I had already given up buyers, but production of any kind for me was very disruptive to the kind of life I wanted to live. I wanted to be like a world-class dad. I wanted to be a world-class husband. I wanted to take care of my physical body. I wanted to spend time with my creator. I wanted to do all those things, be a good friend, be a good brother, be a good son. And real estate didn't allow me to do all of those other things. So I had to make some decisions. And the decision was that I was going to, exit production. 2011 hired my first. 2012, that's the year I did my last sort of technically deal that I was the lead agent on. So I did one transaction in 2012 out of the 248. Super profitable model, systems driven, very, very intentional in terms of how I went about this. So this isn't paying crazy splits and all of that. There's a whole nother training here, that the economic model that goes along with it. Real quick before I forget, if you haven't grabbed a copy of the Real Estate Business Growth Navigator, I wrote out 6 stages of growth. Not to confuse you, it sort of fits into kind of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, stage 6. Make sure you grab a copy of it. Go to realestatebusinessgrowth.com. Just sort of a random thought there, but I want you to understand how some of those hires and decisions and mindsets and how you need to act to graduate to the next stage, how that sort of fits in with the organizational structure. So anyway, just a little aside there. So one transaction in 2012, and this is where I am doubling down on systems, on client experience, on making sure that the sales team, they're hitting their numbers, they're tracking their numbers on a daily basis. For the admin team, now we're hiring one or two more administrators, where we're still doing listing management, we're still doing transaction, closing coordination, we're still doing marketing, but that is done by 2 or 3 people now versus the one that was back here, right? Same functions, but now we're just adding more people because we're doing more transactions. And on the sales team, so I'm leading the sales team, I'm sort of leading the admin team. We're not doing anything different. So to go from, 58, really 58 with an admin and that first buyer agent hire, to go into the 118. So we added 60 transactions, which was just 2 or 3 additional agents. Nothing really changed. To go to here, like one more full-time administrator, I was willing to step out of listings and another buyer agent or 2 to get, from 118 to 178 to 248. So nothing is changing. Everything I did the year that we sold 44 homes and I had that administrator for most of the year, the business ran exactly the same way the year we did 248 and then move on to 312 and 453, right? So it's not a different business. It's just structured differently. And so as we look at the team owner model, this is where I made the decision to step out of production and really scale back my hours. And this is where I had the opportunity in 2013 to launch Real Estate B School. That took a heavy lift to get that business off the ground. In about 2 years, that was a 7-figure business. And we've gone on to be super successful. This year, we're celebrating a decade in the business coaching space in the real estate industry. So 248 transactions. That was 2012. That was when I stepped out of production. We did 312 in 2013, 453 in 2014, and then went on to have sort of a business that did anywhere from, in some lower years where we were missing some team members, 250, 275 to 325, 350 deals. So that was kind of the sweet spot that I found to be massively profitable and very easy to run. And the model is simple. You're simply promoting your lead administrator. They're going to reveal themselves as the person that is able to lead a few administrators and manage the client experience and help agents be successful and get administrative duties off their plate. And then on the sales side, in my case, it was my inside sales manager or my inside sales person at the time that had some management background that was willing to, and actually she continued on in the inside sales role and then took on some sales management responsibilities. And that allowed me to really work closely with two people to have a business that, in like went 312, 453 sides, and then, average of 300 to 325 sides. And that's a very simple, we didn't go big on inside sales and go the inside sales model. We didn't go the showing agent model, but we've always had at least one person that's helping us set appointments because we had inbound. I was more of our marketing was efforts that motivated buyer and seller prospects to reach out to us. So it was more inbound content creation type, direct response type marketing. So I needed somebody to set appointments for us. Buyer agents they doubled as showing agents. We had a showing agent full time at one point, and then listing agent or listing agents. And then you have a sales manager managing that team. And same thing on the ops side, same functions: transaction coordination, listing, client care, marketing, field coordinator is a runner, maybe like an office assistant. But you could, on average, I found that for every 50 transactions, you need like one administrator doing different functions. So if you're doing 50 transactions, you have one administrator, but they're doing all of the functions, right? They're doing listings coordination, closing coordination, and marketing coordination. As you grow to 100 transactions, you hire that second person, probably somebody doing listing and marketing coordination, and then someone doing closing coordination. And they're sharing the duties of office management, and maybe you have an outsourced runner. Then as you go above that, then you're sort of bringing on, that third marketing coordinator type person. So that is the journey. Those are the 3 steps. Let me tell you a few things in terms of how to get there. The first thing, the sort of ground zero, is that you have to do the work. You have to get so busy that you are forced to bring people into your world to take over the things that you shouldn't be doing. But the first technical step is to begin with the end in mind. Where do you want to be looking out 3 years from now? Where do you want to be? I have made all the mistakes you can make in real estate, all the mistakes, and they've carried over to my personal life. But the one mistake I didn't make was, all the time, really, I'm looking out 3 years. Very clearly, do I see where I want to be 3 years from now in my business, in my finances, in my marriage, with my kids, with my physical body, with my faith. I'm looking into the future, and then I'm willing to put on paper a plan to get there. So it's a 3-year vision, a 1-year plan. So this year, what has to happen for me to crush my business? Get a step closer to achieving my business vision. What has to happen this year for me to get one step closer to achieving the vision I have for my marriage, right? Or in my finances, right? So you have to put that 3-year vision into perspective with a clear 1-year plan. And then you focus for 90 days at a time. We sprint a quarter at a time. So when I look back on the 10 years I've had in real estate B school as a business coach, that's 40 90-day sprints. So 40 in B school, where our members use something we call the Business Freedom Planner. It's a 90-day planning system. And that allows them to be on point. So have very specific projects that they're working on, a weekly and daily cadence, and a process for staying motivated and engaged while things get tough, because they will get tough. but you have to focus for 90 days. So if you didn't see the email or the post in the Facebook group this week, I talked about Andy Mulholland. Um, Man, I had the honor of working with him, and he really took this concept of freedom to the next level. He was eyeballs deep in transactions. It was just him, and he was probably running the lead agent model when I met him, but with no freedom, 7 days a week, ready to give up the business. We more than doubles his transaction count. Structured the business on the right economic model, which gave him the freedom to go down to, I think, to 3 days a week, 2 days a week, and 1 day a week. Was able to achieve his 3-year vision, which was just to leave his home for 90 days and be in an RV with his family. He was a business coach of ours, and just an amazing testimony to having a clear vision of what you want to be able to do in the future. And he told me on the phone, Lars, I want to be able to leave for 90 days in an RV with my family 3 years from now. And he didn't quite believe it, but he actually achieved it. And it's just an awesome, awesome success story. So if you are considering this first step of hiring an admin, make sure you grab this hiring guide. Just type "need leverage" below. If you want to go further, faster, grab a business growth assessment. Go to REBS Growth Assessment. Technically, this is not a sales call. And we are going to dig into where you are in your business, where you want to be in the future, what's holding you back. And if we can help you, we're going to talk about it. If we can't help you, we're not going to talk about it. But this is your opportunity to have someone, either me or one of our business coaches. I still do these calls. One of us help you decide where you are, or figure out where you are, where you want to go, and what's holding you back. And the goal is to help you become our next case study. If you want to just go straight to the details on the case study, go to REBS Case Study Program. I think this is currently a $3,000 savings. We're getting ready to tweak the pricing. So jump over there and check that out. It gives you all the stuff, all the accountability on a daily basis, coaching from me, coaching from Ben, one of our coaches who's exiting listing production this year, separate coaching platform off Facebook, access to everything I've ever created, all the lead gen levers, and a 10x guarantee on your investment. If you don't at least 10x the investment within a 6-month period, I'll give you twice your investment. So double your money back guarantee. Here's the thing. We've got to do the work. I will see you on the next training. Much love, much respect. We'll talk soon.